Hey there, welcome to the channel. My name is Becky and this is Bria Makes Art, and today I wanted to start a new painting challenge. I had seen a video by Ruth Wilshaw a while ago where she did a 5x5x5 challenge where she did, each painting took 5 minutes. She did 5 of them a week for 5 weeks. My piece of paper fit a 4x3 grid better, so I'm going to be doing a 5x4x3, so each painting will be 5 minutes. I'll be doing 4 paintings a week for 3 weeks. That also seemed like a little bit more manageable for me at the moment, so there it is. I'm going to be doing 5x4x3. Since each painting is so small, the rectangles are about like a 2x3-ish size, and I'm only going to give myself 5 minutes per painting, I have to focus on kind of a broader idea. I can't get into a lot of details in each one. So my theme for this week I think is going to be skies. Okay, so for my first sky, I want to do a night sky, but I want to do an aurora effect. I'm not really sure how to do this, so I'm just gonna go ahead and play and see what I can do. First off, I'm gonna go ahead and just give myself a nice black background because it's going to be a night sky, so it's going to need that. And I'm just going to go ahead and just do black. I'm not going to do anything special there. Let me get a little bit more water on there. Get that to spread out nicely. Oops, I forgot to start my timer. And I'm hoping that by doing this, I get a better feel for how much water to put in my gouache as well. Just in general, kind of how to manage using my gouache better. Because that's something that I definitely struggle with, is trying to figure out how much water to add. My thought is by doing these tiny paintings, it will give me a chance to really play and experiment with the paint without having to worry about ruining it, because it's such a small painting. It's not a big deal. I'm only going to spend 5 minutes on each one. If it doesn't turn out well, it's not a big loss, and I can feel a little bit freer to really experiment and really play with the paint and see what I can do and see what I can't do, and maybe spark some other ideas for ways to use the paint or cool paintings that I might be able to do. So for this one, I want to do an underpainting and then a stylized sky on top. That's not something I do very often, so I just wanted to give it a try. So I'm just going to do like kind of a warm undertone here. Oops, I gotta start my timer here. I forgot about that. Okay, so this one I'm going to do kind of try and do like a stormy sky. So it's going to be kind of a little bit of blue with just kind of some darker clouds. Maybe like a little bit of white, but not a lot, because I want it to just kind of feel dark and moody. So let's go ahead and get started. There's an idea in martial arts, and I think a lot of other sports, called muscle memory. And the idea is that you practice a thing over and over and over again so that it becomes automatic. You don't have to think about it in order to perform it. What I'm trying to do here is build up muscle memory at painting as well, and I think that it probably applies to this as well. I know that it applies to a certain extent to my drawing. I know that the more that I have practiced, the more certain lines and certain shapes become more muscle memory. I don't have to think about it as much, and I can perform it a lot faster and pay attention to other details and other aspects of my art. So I'm hoping that by doing something like this, it is, like I said, it is low risk because it's a tiny little painting, and if I screw it up, I screw it up. It's not a big deal. It's not a big waste. It's only a 5-minute painting. And it'll just kind of let me practice different skills very quickly with low risk, and so I'm going to be more likely to do it, and so I can build up that muscle memory in order to be able to use that in other paintings in order to hopefully get better results. I could not figure out how to stop my timer. Got it though. Okay, so far I feel like all of these are failures, but that's okay, because that's what this is for. This is for me to be trying things out and see what works and what doesn't. And so far I don't like what I've done so far, so I know that those things don't work for me. Let's go ahead and do a little tape peel so we can see these at least. And they might look better after the tape is peeled. I don't know. We'll see. Actually, I think they do. That's kind of funny. I'm only going to peel it down to there because I've got more, oh no, to do on the page. Okay, they're not as big of a failure as I thought once I peeled the tape and kind of separated out the images from each other. They're actually not as bad as I thought. Okay. That's kind of cool. Neat. Okay, well, that was my 4 paintings for this week. I spent 5 minutes on each painting, so about 20 minutes total on the paintings themselves. A little bit more in terms of prep time and things like that. And overall, I really enjoyed doing this. I tried a couple of different things that I wouldn't have tried on a bigger piece, and it was kind of nice to be able to see how the paints would react and like what I would end up with. And it was interesting to see that before I peeled any tape around it, I didn't like any of them that much, but after I peeled the tape, I actually liked some of them a lot more than I did originally. I'm going to go ahead and show you each of them in turn and just talk a little bit about them. So the first one here, I tried to do an Aurora style painting. I don't think it's terribly successful. I don't know if maybe I should have just pulled the green up a little bit more. Maybe the color of green is a little bit wrong, but it was just kind of fun to try it. The second one was just a sunset sky or a sunrise sky. I don't like the color that I ended up with for the ground on the bottom. I think that it's just kind of a muddy brown, and I don't really like that. And I was trying to mix a different color, and then I ran out of time, so I just left it the way it was. Overall, I think the sky is pretty successful though. The next one here is this one where I did an undercoat of kind of a nice orange color, and I wanted to allow some of that to peek through, and it does. And at first I didn't like it, but now that I've got the tape peeled around most of it, I actually do kind of like it. I like that color peeking through, and I just kind of ended up doing a sky and then like water or something like that on the bottom. I was originally going to do a gradient, but then it kind of looked like water, and I went with it. I actually kind of like it. And then the last one, I was trying to do a stormy sky, and it was not very representative. It is kind of more of a feeling of a stormy sky, which is definitely not the style of painting that I typically do, but I like how it turned out. It definitely feels stormy to me. I don't know that it's something that I would necessarily use, but it was just an interesting experiment anyway. My next two themes are rocks and water, and I think maybe I'll start with water and end with rocks. So my next weeks will be all water, and just trying to really play with how I represent water, because I want to get better at it, and so this will give me a good chance to practice it. And then I think I'll do rocks, but maybe I'll end up doing 2 weeks of water. We'll see. But anyway, this is a great little exercise. You don't have a whole lot of pressure except for the time limit. If you don't want to put the time limit on yourself, don't do it. But there's no pressure in terms of doing a good job, because you're just doing this tiny little square on a big piece of paper, and so at most you are using up 1 piece of paper, so it's not that big of a deal. I would highly recommend doing this if you just kind of want to play more with your paints. It's a great way to just try little techniques on a very small scale without having to worry about like ruining your entire painting or something like that. I really like this. It's kind of like little sketches in paint, and definitely going to keep doing this. So anyway, I hope you guys had a good time, and I will see you again next week. Bye.